kick it off, raise your hand, and we'll pass the mic to you if you got a question.
Mr. Marlowe. Good evening, Coach. How much differently will you coach in the playoffs, if at all, as opposed to how you coach during the regular season?
Yeah, not at all. And we're not going to play any different. Obviously, we're here with 54 wins, the number 2 seed, and if I try to do something different, coach a different way, I think our players would be turned off and tune me out. So it's going to be more of the same. I'm going to approach it the same way. We're going to play the same way, and obviously within the playoffs, we'll make adjustments as we go from game to game. But you'll see the same approach to every single game throughout the postseason.
What's the most difficult aspect of game ones? Is it nerves? Is it the unknown, or is there something else?
I would say for us, probably the nerves. You have the large majority of our roster. This will be their first playoff experience, and I anticipate that the first couple of minutes, the adrenaline, I think we'll probably get really tired at first, trying to do too much. May have to use a timeout to calm our guys down and remind them, hey, let's continue to do what we've done for 82 games. We're a good team. And I had Paul Millsap address our team this morning after shoot around, and he was phenomenal. Here's a guy that's got 89 playoff games under his belt, talked about embracing the moment, looking around, enjoying it, taking pride in what we've done this year, and then going out there and just playing. This is not rocket science. This is still basketball, and we're going to continue to try and do what we've done at a very high level over the regular season. But I think the biggest factor, the biggest concern will just be the initial first couple of minutes and getting those nerves out. Then I expect that we'll be fine after that.
Coach, throughout the years, when you've heard the name DeMar DeRozan, what comes to mind? And has that changed at all this year now that he's kind of elevated his playmaking ability with his team?
You think of a great scorer, one-on-one scorer, more of a throwback player. Here's a guy that impacts the game at a high level without using the three-point line. Our goal in this series is try to limit his attempts at the rim, his attempts at the foul line, and make him take tough contested twos. But DeMar is a great player because he continues to evolve. I think being a great scorer is one thing, but now against us, he's averaging 5 assists per game. On the regular season, he's even more than that. And some of the shooters they have, when they have all the shooting on the floor, and now you have DeMar DeRozan attacking, living in the paint, drawing a crowd. He's making the right play, making all his teammates better, which is a sign of growth and which is a sign of somebody who understands, being a selfless player.
Hey, I know you have a great fondness for Pop, and you've really played up your little Bo Peep in this matchup today. But why does it work for both of you? Both of you are can be brutally honest. And why does that style of coaching work in 2019 when in some ways that's old school?
Well, I think it works because for Coach Pop, and I can't speak for him, and for myself, it's who we are. And I think that's a really important point. And I learned that a long time ago from my mother and my father. Being true to yourself. If I was trying to be something I'm not, I think the players have great bullshit radar, and they can see right through it. They respect people who are genuine, who are true to themselves. And for me, whether it's as a head coach, DeMarcus Cousins or Nikola Jokic, not being afraid to coach a superstar. And I'm not. And I don't say that like I'm sticking my chest out, but I think that's how you have to do it. But behind that, and kids, this is the most important point, and this is what Pop told me when I got the job in SAC. You have to be who you are. Be true to yourself. But the players must know that you love them and care about them. They'll accept the brutal honesty if they also know you care about them as people. And I think our players realize that. And I know they do in San Antonio for him. Obviously he's can get feisty and I can get feisty, but at the end of the day, our players know that our heart's in the right place and we want what is best for them both on and off the court.
Hey Coach, what's maybe the biggest thing that stood out to you about how Nikola has just kind of embraced being the face of your team and that #1 option that you guys count on him for, so much night in and night out really over the course of the season?
I think for me, Harrison, the thing that would jump out is in my first 3 years here, there were many times where I would say to our coaching staff or to Tim Connolly, I love our group, but we need a closer. You know, we're in a lot of close games, and it'd be great to have a guy that you can just throw the ball to the end of the game and who's going to make a play. And this year, Nikola Jokic became our closer. In the past, it had always been by committee. You know, our closer was the open man, equal opportunity. This year, you know, you think about all the games that we've had, being 13-3 in games decided by 3 points or less, best record in the NBA. A lot of guys are a part of that, but Nikola stands out, scoring, making the right play, getting to the foul line, and him embracing that. And that's a big area of growth for a young man to say, you know what, I'm a good player, I'm an all-star, but now I'm a closer. I can put our team on my back, and I'm going to take us to the promised land. And he's done that at a very high level. So having that confidence, I think, is tremendous. And now he's got to do it on the playoff stage. You know, now it even goes up another notch. And I have no doubts that Nikola will be able to do that.
You guys finished the season third in the NBA in that clutch time net rating this year, after being middle of the pack last year. Other than Jokic taking that kind of mantle, what's been the biggest reasons you guys have been able to thrive in those situations? Because obviously there's going to be so many of those in the playoffs.
But defense, you know, I think, you know, and not just three-point defense, going from dead last to number one, which is remarkable, but having the number one fourth quarter defense in the NBA. When you can trust your defense down the stretch to get timely stops and rebounds, and we saw it all year long, including game 82. Didn't play a great game for most of that game, but we go on a 15-0 run to close it out. So yes, I think guys have stepped up on the offensive end. The execution has been better. We've identified kind of our go-to package, if you will. But you also have to play on the other end, and getting stops and getting rebounds has allowed us to do that as well.
Coach, that 15-0 run at the end of the Minnesota game seems to have changed a lot of the vibe. Not only that, it just seemed like the defensive effort more than the actual consecutive points was something that you had really thought of it and like really responded to. Do you think that having that run at the end of that Minnesota game kind of give you a little extra pep heading into these playoffs?
Well, yeah, because we go in with the win as opposed to losing 3 games in a row. And obviously I would not want to head into the postseason having lost 3 in a row. And then just kind of reminding that starting group what they're capable of. And down the stretch, I think, you know, we clinched in Boston, and we clinched the division, you know, and all that stuff. But I think that 15-0 run allowed us to get a win, Jeff, but it also gave us a reminder of when we play with urgency and we play hard and we defend, we're really capable of doing some special things. And we saw it all year long against some great basketball teams. And in that game, it was the last 3-4 minutes that we saw it. Now, the big thing with that is not waiting until the fourth quarter. And I don't anticipate that being an issue. I think everybody understands this is the playoffs. We've all sacrificed and given a lot to be here. Now it's got to be a sense of urgency for 48 minutes.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it, guys and ladies.